All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's get going here. All right. Obviously, U.S. stocks had a major reversal in yesterday's session. We really opened at the high and closed at the lows, which is a hell of a bearish to say the least. You can see that no sectors were spared. And everything was pretty much slaughtered. The 10-year Treasury yield ticked up to new highs. And really, I think that's kind of been the story of this whole thing. It's not just been happening in the U.S., it's kind of been happening everywhere. Everyone's kind of, regrouping and repositioning, and you're seeing funds that are being reallocated because the Fed is probably gonna start to back off the bond buying program. So, I think we've got to remember going forward that this is now getting properly priced in, and we've got to play it accordingly going forward. Asian markets were very, very ugly. As you can see there when we did this, the Japanese market was only down 4.18%. It's actually down 6.35% now. Just to give you an idea of how quickly things are falling, I think all the markets are probably a little bit lower. You can see there Hong Kong down 3%, so it's pretty ugly in the Asian session. Obviously on the back of U.S. and European reversals yesterday. The Chinese markets, it's their first day being open, I think in 4 days, or of the whole entire week. So, they're just kind of reacting to that now, and you're seeing quite a steep sell-off there, I think down about 3%. And then, Japan obviously, is just really just been getting killed by this yen that continues to go forward. Will show that, or continues to go stronger. We've bounced about 10% now from the lows of the yen, and that's just absolutely killing their market. So we'll continue to monitor that one going forward. All right, a bunch of stocks going ex-div Friday because Monday is a holiday. We've got Roynert, we've got MediClinic, and we've got Mr. Price. So just remember that today will be last day to trade there. And then Lawnman, more bearish news there. A spokesperson said it still hasn't received a strike notice from the AMCU union, which means they think we may get some more illegal strikes. Could come any day now. So. Nothing good happening on that side. All right, very little going on today in terms of market data. We had Australian unemployment change, which is a better number than expected. Kind of backed some of the people off the thought of a rate cut at the next meeting there. We've got advanced retail sales in the States, and then obviously we've got the big one, which is initial jobless claims. So, all right, let's jump into the maps. All right, first thing we're going to look at here is the S&P. This is the S&P spot. If I shorten this up a little bit, for some reason it's, okay. If I shorten this up a little bit, you can see, this major level that we talked about last time, it came down and exactly tested in the prior session. Here at 598, it's not the prior session, sorry, about a week ago session, we came down and tested it. You can see we touched on the wick. That's where we really are right now on the future. I should actually just show the future. There's a future there. You can see the support level is a little bit different on the future, so this may be something to go by. This could be a little bit more accurate and something that you can watch a little bit more closely. Really on the future, we're going to be looking at 1594 as support on the S&P future, so keep that one in mind today. A few points of downside left to be tested at least, I think, and probably will test it at some point today. Obviously we talked about earlier the effects that this yen is having. If we back out a little bit here, you can see how steep this upward move was. But the real level, we've just breached major support, I think, here around 96.5. That was breached at the end of yesterday's session. This morning, you just continue to get this rip lower. There could potentially be a little bit of support here at the bottom of this little pattern, maybe around 92. The thing that I would say makes it most interesting, maybe around that level, is if you look, from this move up, the fib levels. I mean, we've got to come all the way down to that just to have a 50% retracement of these numbers. So really, we had such a long move to the upside. You can expect this pullback to be quite big as well. So if you're involved here in the currency markets, I wouldn't be trying to train stop. We're looking at this to be one of our biggest risk barometers in the market, and really focusing on what happens here, and see if we can gain any sort of footing or support here in the yen over the next few sessions. All right. Aussie, we talked about we talked about this yesterday, and we've really come down again and kind of testing the neckline there that we broke through on the Aussie this morning. You see we basically almost have gotten down here this morning at a point. We're looking at about 34,700 is really the level that we'd be looking at. We're not very far off of that. We're about 80, 90 points away from that. I think that's really it's our last major support that we have at all. I think until possibly previous lows, which come in at 32,287. You can see there. So I would really watch that level closely today if we can hold. I think it's a big win. If not, things could get ugly here in the Aussie. All right, ShopRite. ShopRite chart's starting to get quite bearish here on this kind of head and shoulder breakout move. You can take this thing all the way down to here. We really broken down out of what was support for a while in ShopRite. We also broke lateral support. You can see here, or broke to new lows on the lateral move. I really think that this thing actually has reasonably significant downside left in it, and technically now, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make a move all the way down here, which is a hell of a long ways away. We're talking about 25-30 rand. So it just technically this thing looks really bad. It's looking very much like a proper head and shoulder, obviously with a little bit of a higher right shoulder. Just we've got to watch this one really closely. If we can't regain lateral support here around 165 and regain it quite soon, I think this thing's going to continue to get hammered. All right, Anglos. I meant to show this actually yesterday, but maybe it's better that we didn't show it, just because we broke that. We came down and we tested this level so many times right here around 217. Tested it back in April, tested it again last day of April or first day of May, tested it again the middle of May. Had some nice bounces up, mainly due to rand weakness more than anything here, but we broke it on the close on Tuesday. And then yesterday we kind of spent time bouncing around between 214 and 217. I really think this thing can move down significantly from here. From the kind of the mid range of these tops, maybe up around 233, breaking the level of 217. I'd be looking for a target, possibly $16 lower. I would say that our target's got to be 200 rand now, and on Anglos. So I know that's a hard one to kind of imagine with this weak rand, but technically that's what it looks like we're going to get. All right, Sanlam is really kind of broken into quite a negative, broken down from a really nice sideways to upward sloping consolidation pattern. We've really about a 5 rand range here between 46 and 51. So we'd be looking for about $5 of downside potentially out of Sanlam, which would put us down around 41. Kind of sort of around these levels way down here. So I think we could potentially have quite a long ways to go on the downside left in Sanlam. Mutual, we jump back to a 2-year here. You can see we really we closed right at support on trend line. Sorry, let's draw it from right here. On trend line support and on on support coming from all this the breakout that we had back in in April. So right here at around the closing price, around 28.80, I would say if a break of 28.80 and a hold below 28.80 would kind of give us a breakdown in Old Mutual. And if that happens, you just got to be very careful of this one. This thing could have quite a long way to continue on the downside if it gets through this level. But right now we're at a couple nice support levels here in Old Mutual. All right, and that's the last for the local stuff. Next one I'll show you is SN out of in London. Just shorten this up a little bit here. You can see obviously the trend has been quite bullish. We're really breaking up from a little downward sloping wedge here. If we back out a little bit, you can see we're right at support as well. And so, I mean, from that perspective, I would say that this thing's a nice opportunity on the long side. The last one I'm going to show is Netflix. Netflix making a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern here. And you can see there we're literally closing right at what I would say is probably the key point of this whole chart. I mean, I think if we break to the downside of Netflix from here, I think you could see significant downside, possibly even as much as $30 to the downside. So watch this one closely. Could really get heavy over the next couple of sessions. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.